we're going to talk a little bit about whether broadcasters, tech broadcasters, or any broadcasters are going to be out of a job soon because it will be crowdsourced. Let's talk about that right now. Today, Facebook officially rolled out live videos, previously only available to public figures. Live lets all of us use our phones to instantly share video with our Facebook friends who can respond with comments and reactions. The feature hasn't rolled out to everyone yet. If you have it, open your Facebook app on your phone and you'll see a little broadcast icon. It's the one of the man with rings emanating from his head. And you'll see a screen that says go live on Facebook and you're live. So I guess our work as broadcasters is done now.
Yeah. Everything that we do here, all the planning and everything like that, just thrown out the window because all you need to do is push a button and say whatever's at the top of mind.
That's not, of course, that's not what we do.
No. What I mean is anybody can do that. So why do they need us?
Yeah.
But it's not true. They're very different things. I don't know. What do you think, Rich? Do you think that, I mean, Zuckerberg has basically said many times that he thinks the future is in live video. It seems like apps like Snapchat are kind of, to some degree, eating Facebook's lunch at this point with a certain demographic anyways. And one of its strengths, of course, is just kind of your ability to go on there and say something that really doesn't matter a whole lot, maybe in the long term. You're just kind of throwing stuff out and, it's very, spur of the moment, off the cuff type stuff. Facebook Live video kind of has that element. Do you think this kind of helps Facebook with that crowd?
Yeah, it sort of has both of those elements. It has the fleeting, ephemeral kind of like you say something, it goes. When I do a Facebook post, I put a little bit more time and effort into it. But when I'm on Facebook Live, it does give you that freedom to sort of be yourself, do whatever you want, and know that you are live and you're in the moment. I find it really fascinating because Facebook Live, my audience, that's the TV audience, is really into Facebook, and it's the engagement level is just huge on Facebook Live. I've done a bunch of shows on there, and it's just amazing. Now, here's the little thing. It's like Facebook is really pumping up Facebook Live videos right now, so it's tough to tell if it's true engagement or if Facebook is kind of gaming the system and making everything that happens on Facebook Live show up a lot faster in people's feeds and getting people to tune in. So that's the tough part right now. But when it comes to Facebook, I think the engagement's there. I'm not sure. For the average person, the use case is a little bit different, So like if I'm having a birthday party for my kids and maybe I want my parents to tune in across the country, Facebook Live might be the easiest way for them to do that because they're on a cell phone. They don't have to download anything. It's already on their phone. But when it comes to Snapchat and stuff like that, I feel like we're getting into places like every message has a different medium. So with Snapchat, I'm going to post something that's just kind of silly, behind the scenes look, something that's I wouldn't necessarily want in a tweet to live on forever. Not that it's bad, but it's just not that important. Whereas Facebook Live, I'm sort of using that as a place to do Q&A with my fans and people that watch me on TV. And then Twitter is just anything you're thinking of in the moment or things that I find interesting. So I feel like all these silos are sort of happening. But I think Live is very important to Facebook, and it is a really interesting tool that they've built. And I think the most important part about it is the fact that there's no barrier to entry. It's so easy that literally anyone can tune in, whether they're on their phone or their computer. So many of these little things in the past, you've had to download some sort of helper app or some sort of login or sign in or get your friends on board. You don't have to do any of that with this. It's just built in. So
the lack of barrier to entry is the best part and also perhaps the worst part. Some horrible things could happen, right? And I don't want to see everyone's live feed in my Facebook feed.
Well, and the way Zuckerberg, so Matt Honan at BuzzFeed had a really great kind of like in-depth kind of article conversation with Mark Zuckerberg. And one of the things Zuckerberg said in the interview is, he says, quote, "I wouldn't be surprised if you fast forward 5 years and most of the content that people see on Facebook and are sharing on a day-to-day basis are video." And I have to imagine, around this also, he's kind of envisioning that hopefully a large part of that or a significant portion of that is live video. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe we're just too early into this to see that sort of influence coming over a network like Facebook or even beyond. Like it also makes me wonder, if Snapchat's going to end up getting into the live video game, if this is something that really works for Facebook. I completely agree with what you're saying, though, Rich, in that all the networks kind of have a different reason for existing. I get somewhat overwhelmed by it because at a certain point, like, it just becomes too much, and the processing that I have to do in order to figure out where I go for this versus that or whatever gets a little overwhelming. And if that's overwhelming to me, I wonder how it is for people who don't follow technology on a daily basis. So,
but I think for a more average person who's not necessarily doing a show and doing behind the scenes of their show or whatever, like I always think of like my mom or someone that's watching TV. They're not necessarily thinking like, where does this message need to go? For them, it's much more natural because they're not building a base. They're not kind of like talking to people that they don't necessarily know. So I think for them, it's a lot more natural. Like for my sister, if she's posting something with her kid, it's going on her Snapchat. If she's posting something that is like a family get together, it's going on Facebook. So, and if she's posting something funny, it goes on Twitter. So it kind of like, it's almost like it's becoming natural to the average person of where do I post this stuff? But I agree, it is overwhelming. And it is a lot because you're like, wait a second, do I go here for this? Do I go there for that? But with the live, it's like, where does it really end? And what really will we see? If he's saying everything's going to be live in the future, like how many things do we need live? Like you're at an amusement park, it's like, okay, I'm taking a ride on this roller coaster. Let me go Facebook Live. It's like, how many times do you need to see that? But right now, it is a very fascinating thing because I've been a broadcaster on TV for 15 years now. And the way to reach a lot of people was with all of this equipment and all of this crazy engineering and satellite time and all this stuff. And the first time I ever did a Meerkat, which was pretty much, I think, the first time I went live randomly with my phone, it just was like, it blew my mind because here it was, I threw away all this technology that it takes and all this expense, and I was just reaching people. And it's still amazing to me in that aspect. And I think that we're just at the beginning of this. And we see big news organizations like E! News just started doing a noontime Facebook Live show. We're just seeing a lot more people experiment with it and see what works and see what doesn't work.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit concerned about the privacy aspects of it. I mean, you mentioned the birthday party, Rich, and I think like maybe FaceTime would be a better use of that, because it's only you're only showing it to your parents who can't be at the birthday party,
and it's not archived.
Right, exactly.
After the fact.
But because I just like, what are they going to catch in the background? It feels like, I don't know if you guys have read Dave Eggers' book, The Circle, but it's sort of a fake Google. And part of the ominous things that happen in that book is that everyone starts recording everything, and they think it's great because then we have more honesty. But there's privacy issues here, I think, too, if everyone's walking around with their phone and you don't know if they're recording you or not.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. It's like, as like a journalist, we have rules of where we can shoot, when we can shoot, how we can shoot. And you do, like if you're on a playground, you're not going to show those kids' faces on TV news because it's just something that you don't do. They're underage. You don't have their parents' permission. But if someone's in a public street, you can easily show them. So I think a lot of the same rules do apply. But the problem is you have a billion amateurs broadcasting video now in places like, a private party. Let's say I'm at a party that I don't need everyone in the world to know I'm at, but someone at the party is just broadcasting live to the world, and it's easy to do because they're on their phone doing it. So you're right, it does bring up a lot of considerations for the privacy aspect of things, especially when it comes to inside people's homes. No matter where you go nowadays, someone is tweeting, taking a picture, doing something with other people that are there that they may not know. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, I guess this, and I always think in my head, like, well, wait, let me think back 10 years. Could this have happened? I mean, not really. Like in a way, they might take a picture and share it with a couple people. But now it's like you're at a dinner, someone takes a picture, they tweet it out, everyone knows you're at that dinner. Not that I have anything to hide with the dinners I'm going to, but it's just one of those things you think about. And it is interesting, like you said.
You just don't want people to know that you're eating roast beef. I get it. I get it.